The perception of fur shifting from a luxury good to something that people think is horrible. We did that. This movement did that.
Welcome to the Hen Report from our hen house. I'm Jasmin Singer.
And Mariann Sullivan.
And I love the topics today that you chose. You do most of the curation. And I've noticed that more and more lately you've been choosing some good news stories. Has that been intentional?
I guess so. Yeah, probably. I didn't really think it out, but I think it's nice for people to hear some good news. I think it's really important for this movement to keep track of the victories or accomplishments. So, yeah, I think it's intentional. Sometimes there's things. I have this like completist problem that I feel like we're supposed to talk about everything that happened in animal rights for the past week, which is A, impossible, and B, stupid.
Yeah.
Like, why would we have to? It's much better to pick out a few things that are interesting and talk about them, which is all anybody is expected to do. But, I'm occasionally neurotic. I'm not going to deny it.
Really?
Like,
Shocking.
I feel like we're everybody's only news source, which is probably not true. And so we have to say everything.
Well-
But I do like to lean on the good news when there is some, because, there isn't that much. Let's face it. And also maybe because I do rising anxieties. I do that as well. And, that they can kind of blend into each other. I don't want them to become too similar. But rising anxieties, I wouldn't say it's bad news, but it's news out of the industry, so it's always offensive.
Sure. And hilarious frequently.
Sometimes.
So we are a podcast and we're on YouTube. So subscribe and like wherever you listen. It's funny that people are finding us on YouTube. I feel like the need to say I'm so happy that they are, but I also want them to know that we've only just started on YouTube.
Let me
recently.
ask you this. I don't know whether you know the answer to this.
Okay.
I think I've heard listening to YouTube, which I'm doing more than is advisable for anyone's mental health.
We're aware.
That you should bleep out profanities and certain other words, one of them being pedophile, which is...
You just said it.
I know. I just said it. See, this is the problem. Because it ruins your algorithm. That's why people do it. So I think we need to look into that, because I noticed in the last Rising Anxieties, I did use a profanity. I'm not going to say which one, but it rhymes with duck.
Got it.
Which I say occasionally, as do most people, but I think we need to look into whether YouTube has some kind of prescription on that. And there might be other words as well. I mean, the P word that I just mentioned, which I guess we're not supposed to say, is coming up in the news all the time these days. So this is not in our news so much. We don't talk about that very much. But, boy, what a world, what a world.
I was watching another YouTube and someone said abortion, and she said, I'm only going to say that once. And
it might be the same
because
thing.
Of the algorithm thing. Yeah.
Yeah. We need to learn more about the algorithm and stop saying words that rhyme with duck.
Or plabortion.
Yeah.
All right. So let me share some news, if you don't mind, before we jump in.
Please do.
Because you already know.
I know this news. I'll just do my knitting here.
No, you don't. You're not knitting.
Right. Never mind.
Okay. I was recently, I got a really big part in a play, and it's kind of a role of a lifetime type of part. And I've known about getting it for a few weeks now. I wasn't allowed to talk about it. I was asked many months ago to audition for it, so I had months to prepare, which I did. And so it's very surreal to say, but I will be playing the role of Judy Garland in a play about Judy Garland. And it is going to be...
It's not just a play. I mean, I guess it's not exactly
a
musical,
play with
but
music.
There's an enormous amount of music in it that you will be singing.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. It's a play
just
with
like
music.
Judy Garland?
It's called An End of the Rainbow. And it's about like the end of her life. It takes place over several days during which she was doing her final concert called Talk of the Town, and she was really struggling at this point. She was a complicated person, very abused by Hollywood, uh, completely panic stricken whenever she had to perform. And so she really used a lot of drugs to kind of get her through all of that. And she had,
Are you doing that as well?
yeah, I'm doing drugs right now, hard
Yeah.
drugs.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
Method acting.
sure, of course. Anyway, I am very nervous
Yeah,
and
no,
I'm very
it's it's it's
it's a
insane.
roll.
It's insane.
I am completely thrilled and excited. The show is in December. It is at Center Stage Theater in Rochester, and I will be pretty much impossible to be around until then.
Yeah,
And
I can attest to that.
probably a little bit after then as well. I've become a bit one note this morning when I was having my
I don't think
coffee.
OneNote is I mean, that's
Well,
the wrong term to use because you're going to have a lot of notes.
many notes, some of which I can reach, some of which I cannot yet, but
I know you're
hopefully.
singing. You are a great singer. You have a great voice, but you haven't had a singing part in a very long time.
No, very long, decades. But that was the first thing I did when I was asked to audition was start voice lessons, and I've been working with a terrific vocal coach, and the funny thing about her is that she's really studying Judy, and she's like, okay, in this part, you don't say the word this way, like say this way, and then breathe here, but she's like, you're opening your mouth too much. Sing
Yeah,
that
you're
line
lucky
while
you
you're
found
biting.
her.
Yeah, I know. Believe me. So and then the other great giant thing that I will need to accomplish is hiding all of my tattoos. So I have like a
Remember when
collection
you
of,
hid your tattoos to be on the Dr. Oz show?
and then I had
And then
an
you almost
allergic
died?
reaction. Yeah, I do remember that.
You had an
But
allergic
this
reaction to the
the
makeup they
makeup,
used. Yeah.
yeah.
That was
This
fun.
I'm going
That was a
I'm
fun day.
yeah. I'm going more of the leotard route for this, like a
Yeah, that's a good
leotard that
idea. Don't get a
matches
leotard that you're
my.
allergic to though.
Okay, I will do my best to. I am actually a little nervous because she did wear a lot of fur and feathers. So we'll see how receptive the costume
Oh my
department is.
God. Oh my God. I
Yeah,
mean, uh,
I think it'll
a
be
foot has to
fine.
be put down here.
I will put a foot down. I
Which
think it'll be
brings to
fine.
mind an article that I was going to get to later, but I'm going to mention right now. And that's
Go
that
for it.
article, which everyone I'm just going to briefly mention it, which everyone should read. It's by Kenny Torrella. It's in Box, and this is the title of the article: "The biggest animal welfare victory of the 21st century explained in one chart. Global fur production has collapsed. Here's how it happened." I mean, I
Wow.
knew fur production was suffering, but according to Kenny, like it's all but over. I mean, it's unfortunately it's not over. Like all but over means like, still millions of animals, but
Yeah, well,
unbelievable,
I'm
unbelievable,
not
and
totally surprised.
largely on the perception of fur shifting from a luxury good to like something that people think is horrible. And that we did that. I mean, I don't mean you and I, Jasmine. I mean this movement. This movement did that.
I remember in I think 2010. Yeah, you and I were
So you can't
maybe
be wearing fur in this show. Come on. Show them
no.
this
Okay,
article.
it'll no.
Just show them the article. Show them the
Fur is
article.
easy to
Yeah.
faux.
Yeah.
But I think you and I were in San Francisco. I'm trying to remember if it was 2007, I think maybe. And there was someone wearing like a fur something or other. And I was just like about to say something to them.
I don't
And
remember this.
this guy, well, you weren't with me. This guy,
I thought you said I
no,
was.
you
I'm
were with
sorry.
me in San Francisco, but you weren't with me at this moment.
Okay.
And this guy turns around to the person wearing fur before I had an opportunity and said, "You shouldn't wear that around here," or like, "How dare you wear that around here," kind of thing. And yeah, exactly. I was like, okay, well, my work here is not necessary, and that was like, I mean, nearly 20 years ago
Yeah.
somehow.
Yeah.
So I'm not terribly surprised, but that's a
I
great
mean, he does
story.
point
Yeah.
out that a couple of, the pandemic, and mink being able to catch COVID helped and everything, but it's mostly the movement.
I was listening to Ali Sheedy's Ali Sheedy's memoir recently, and I was listening to the audio version, and she said something about fur, how she was
Ali
wearing it.
Sheedy. That is a blasphemy. Isn't she like an animal rights
No,
person?
I lied. Ali Sheedy is an animal rights person, but that was not whose memoir I was listening to. I was listening to Parker Posey's memoir.
Right.
I
Obviously, it
always
had a
confuse
big,
them.
big impact on you.
No, no, no. I always could. I have a thing about Parker Posey and Ali Sheedy. Like my brain changes them. It also changes attic and basement. I always say the wrong one. It's weird. Anyway, Parker Posey, who is not Ali Sheedy,
And it's not in the attic.
nor the basement, though I haven't been down there this morning, so I don't guess it's possible. She said something about how she was wearing fur. It was like decades ago that it was relevant to the story, and then she goes, "Sorry." And I was like, okay.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm
Yeah.
glad that you're feeling that way, dude.
Yeah.
Ali Sheedy wouldn't wear fur, I don't think, because she's a big animal rights person.
Yeah.
So
She
I
is.
shouldn't
Or
confuse
was.
them.
She probably still is.
Yeah, one would imagine.
All right. Can I tell
All
my
right.
story?
Please
It'll be
do.
much
Yours is
shorter.
and it's much more on the nose
I
of
went to the
what we're talking
hoedown. I haven't been to the hoedown in a really long time. The hoedown at Farm Sanctuary. Farm Sanctuary is about, well, maybe an hour and a half, 2 hours away. So I thought, no, I'm going to drive down there. It was a beautiful day. I saw some really good friends. I saw lots of lovely animals. I saw Pat Brown of Impossible Foods. So he isn't in charge of Impossible Foods anymore. He was a terrific speaker, I have to say. He spoke a lot about this rewilding project he's working on. I saw Jean, of course. I saw the garden. And most of all, I was just at Farm Sanctuary, which is one of my most special places. When I first got involved, the very beginning when you don't know what you were doing, it was in the mid 90s. I took a weekend and drove with my dogs, Calhoun and Finnegan, up to Farm Sanctuary. I remember arriving like it was late and they had just left a key out for me, and it still looks exactly the same. It just brought back such memories. And
Yeah.
those were the days when they didn't have a lot of rules about dogs, so mine ran around like lunatics. I mean, not amongst the animals. They weren't allowed out there, but they had the best time. We went to the part where they have the memorials to people's animals who have died. All of it was just so moving. I find that place so moving. I guess because I go way back with it, and it was at the very beginning of my journey, and it was great. It was great. The
I
food
have
was terrific. The food was so much better than the hoedown food used to be, but there was no drinking. There used to be quite a bit of it at the hoedown. That was when I didn't drink at all. So I was the one who went on the veggie dumpling trip to Watkins Glen to the House of Hong to get the veggie dumplings for everybody who was getting the munchies, because there were many inebriants being used. Now it's much more staid, as the world is. More careful. People have
well,
lawyers.
I have my beloved former kitty cat is has a stone in that little Rainbow
I knew
Bridge
somebody
memorial.
did.
Zosa.
Yeah, I'm sorry I didn't. I mean, I looked because I knew somebody did that I knew, and
Hmm.
I looked. There's a lot of stones there, so I didn't
There's a
find
lot of
her. I would
stones
have
there.
recognized her name though, because Zosa. It's not the
I
most
know.
common name.
Yeah, yeah. Well, that's exciting that you went. I'm sorry that I wasn't able to join you, but I enjoyed living vicariously through many of your
Oh, such a
stories.
beautiful day. It's so beautiful there. So beautiful. Just one of the
Yeah.
loveliest places.
Also, it's good that I guess you were there before the air quality went to shit because the air
Yeah, no,
quality is
I
bad.
find the air quality very pleasant, but apparently it's killing me because of the
Yeah, it's
fires in
poisonous.
Canada. Yeah.
It's like the whole country. I mean, it's not the whole country, but many parts of the
Yeah.
country right now have
Yeah.
terrible air quality. I think
Yeah.
it's kind of worse up here. I was looking at like the Today
Even
Show before, and
how many trees, how many dead animals are we talking about to make the air that bad over the entire country? I don't even want to think
well,
about it. It's
all
just
right. Well,
horrifying.
thanks for putting that thought in my
Well,
head.
wasn't it already? I don't know.
Yeah, sure, but
Smoke in the air. You tend to think of,
yeah,
well, where's the fire?
true. All right. So, what have we got to talk about
All right, there's
today?
one article I want to bring, mostly good news, or
Yeah.
good news, but there was one article I wanted to mention before we got to good news, just because it's very reminiscent of a recent interview we did with Kudo from Animal Recovery Mission about Fairlife. I really hope you caught that interview. It was terrific. And we actually did a follow-up interview with him last week. But Kenny Torrella, who apparently is the theme of this week's podcast, also
Every
published
week.
an article on Vox, which you don't want to miss if you're interested in this topic. The terrifying reality behind one of America's fastest growing dairy brands, the dark side of Fairlife and America's protein craze. And of course, Fairlife markets itself as not only humane, but also like higher in protein than other milk, because I don't know, they fool with it in some way. I was going to use the duck word and saying they duck with it in some way, but I'm remembering to be good for YouTube. YouTube is ruining my personality. A lot of the article does feature, there's a variety of stuff in here about their history and about the whole protein myth, but also a lot about the recent investigations by Animal Recovery Mission and the horrifying cruelty to the cows by their contract farmers. So I highly recommend listening to the episode, listening to the update, and reading this article, because this is a topic we should all be knowing about. This is the fastest growing brand of milk. I mean, because milk doesn't really have brands. So Coca-Cola, which owns it, figured out something that you can brand milk and start selling it everywhere under some stupid brand, and people will think it's better for them.
Yeah, I know that I've mentioned this to you before, but I've been getting some stupid comments from people when I posted this Vox article that, when they're just like thinking it's just like one bad apple kind of thing, or one bad jug of milk, as it were, and not necessarily connecting the dots to the broader implications of dairy. So I certainly hope that people are not all that stupid. What do you think?
Yeah,
Yeah.
dream on.
Okay. All right. Well, so then let's move on to good news, since we've already
Good
established
news. All right, we have a
the
nun
aforementioned.
story. I'm not.
Not
I'm
none.
totally serious. We have a nun story. I love this
Okay.
story. I actually find it somewhat inspiring.
Tell me.
This is from Plant-Based News. Vegan nun receives medal at first powerlifting competition, aged 72. Is that a
What?
headline or
Can you
what?
can you just say it again? That whole thing
Vegan
that you
nun
just said?
receives medal at first powerlifting competition, aged 72. This is Sister Pat Farrell. And this was at the USA Powerlifting's California Summer Open. And she won her weight class. And yeah, I find this inspiring. I might have mentioned before that my exercise routine is kind of non-existent, which you can't do at my age. And it mentions that she's gotten other people in her order. She's a Dominican sister of San Rafael. She's gotten other people to also start lifting, and they are older than she is. So I am inspired. And she only started 4 months ago, and she's deadlifting 160 pounds, which is
I
more
mean,
than she
it's
weighs. I love
so
this
it
woman. I love her. I bet she is really a lovely woman. She has just this prettiest face. I bet
so
she's a lovely person.
she was
She has one of those
inspired by.
perfect Irish complexions that probably only a nun could have, because it's not, she hasn't been lying on the beach for her whole life, so her skin
Mhm.
is just pink and white.
So she
I'm
was
for separating.
inspired by reading Diet for a New America, which is also nice
Yeah,
since
she
we
said her
we
veganism has been a
lost
little
him recently.
spotty. It's been for 12 years. So, but now it seems to be more solidified. And she talked about, she lives in a community. She lives in the, with the convent. Not all nuns do, but she does. And of course, it's probably hard. You don't always get to you know, fix exactly what you want to eat. I love her.
So our
She's my
next
new
story is
hero.
also, as reported by Plant-Based News. I can't really pronounce this though, because I don't I'm terrible at pronouncing things
Michelin-starred
in
Parisian
French.
restaurant Arpège.
The name of the restaurant,
Arpège
Arpège. Okay.
adopts plant-based menu. This is the third Michelin-starred restaurant, I think, that I know of. I mean, one of them, of course, is Madison Park in New York City, where
Yeah.
we were next door to.
We were upstairs.
Actually, at the
Oh, and
restaurant.
it's 11
And it says
Madison
this is
Park.
almost vegan, but just because they get honey from their own beehives, that's really very close to entirely vegan. But
Hmm.
and this is really pretty cool. It's the second one in Paris, I think, at least the second one in France. And 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 Madison Park kept its 3 stars after it went vegan, and I sure hope this guy does. Alain Passard, and he apparently has been vegan for, or at least not a meat eater for many years. So, it must have been hard for him to be cooking it. And I guess he just said, well, here we go.
I mean, and in
You can go there and
France,
get flambéed aubergine with melon confit, a mosaic of tomatoes and a carrot, onion, and shallot, cabbage
I
medley. I
I
guess
want to paint my house aubergine.
all you have to do is
Maybe.
get yourself to France and then pay 420 euros per person.
Wow. Well, I mean, also like hats off to him for doing this in France because I think that like there's a very strong meat eating culture there, and he's going up against that, so that's very
I know,
exciting.
but there's loads of
I don't.
great vegan food in
I was just gonna
Paris.
say that I don't feel like I remember having great food in
Oh,
Paris, but
I do.
I really did love going there.
I
I
remember the
just
food being
I
really
don't know. I just
good.
don't remember food. Like it's not the way my brain works.
Oh,
It's too busy
right.
confusing Ali Sheedy and Parker Posey and the attics in the basement for me to focus on food. Uh, but anyway, all right, let's move on because the next story spotlights an activist who we adore, who has been on our podcast before, which is
Yeah, well, not
Madeline
she's been on the
Krasno.
Animal Law podcast. Actually, this is Maddie Krasno, and if you haven't caught that episode, I highly recommend it. She was on with her lawyer, Caitlin Foley from ALDF, about this actual case that she has now won. And it had to do with this insane thing at the University of Wisconsin-Madison that they censored her comments on social media posts. They would do a post about how great their animal program was, and she would comment on it, and they would remove them. And she said I mean, the First Amendment only applies to the government, of course, but we're talking about a state university. And she said, you can't do that. And the Seventh Circuit Court of Appeals just said, yeah, you can't do that.
Hmm.
Nice.
Yeah, no
Nice.
kidding. She's like one of my favorite activists
Yeah, she's a
in the
powerhouse.
current animal rights sphere. That's really cool. All right, so let's move on because I'm not sure. Are we like officially past the good news
Yeah,
section of?
now we have this like thing to talk about, and these are not good news. None of them.
No.
But
Okay, so
they were just 3 separate articles that I came across that I think all sort of fit together. I don't even know what to say about them, but I feel like you will.
oh, well, that's terrifying. Well, the first one, the focus is on a zoo in Denmark, which recently made
Probably have heard of this.
headlines.
Huge news. I mean, this made news all over the world.
This is called the Alborg, which I might be pronouncing wrong, Zoo, which recently made headlines by publicly asking people to donate their pets to be killed and fed to zoo predators. Uh, that is real. That actually is real.
And they did
And
say your pets who are, elderly or,
mhm,
about to become homeless. I think it's really interesting. This caused like a huge furor. And they
very,
said they
very
would
strong reactions.
humanely euthanize them. I guess they wouldn't use drugs because they're going to feed them. Don't you think it's interesting, like that most of the people who are complaining about this would have no problem with this zoo buying chicken
No,
that's been
of
treated
course.
horrifically? And that was chicken was one of the animals. I mean, it's only certain animals. Chickens was one of them. If you have a pet chicken, they
Wow.
would have no problem with them buying chicken at the supermarket, and they would have no problem themselves buying chicken at the supermarket.
Yeah, and so far the zoo has received 230 quote unquote donations, including 137 rabbits, 53 chickens, 18 guinea pigs, and 22 horses. Wow. So a lot of the outrage online included people, calling all of this disturbing and sick as they were eating their chicken sandwich. Okay,
Yeah,
I'm
it's so interesting, isn't it?
editorializing. Yeah, and some people were defending the initiative and saying it avoids unnecessary waste. Wow, it's so good that they're so
Right.
virtuous.
I
And
know. God forbid we should
yeah,
waste animals' bodies. And nobody ever, there's nobody, well, I shouldn't say that. It's not like I've read every comment. I'm sure some people did say this. Like, isn't this like maybe indicate that maybe we shouldn't have zoos? Maybe we shouldn't have these carnivores like sitting around with nothing else to do so that we have to like come up with animals to feed them. That they never seem to go there. They just like apparently should buy chickens from factory farms. And I,
Yeah.
like I say, I haven't read it everything, and I'm sure other people are saying that as well. All right, that was one of them.
Yeah,
Then there was
okay.
the baboon one. And this is,
Right, the
this is the
baboon
kind of
one.
thing that has happened before. Also in Denmark, though this one's in Germany. Do you want to talk about this article?
The Nuremberg Zoo in Germany, and this is I this story is kind of nuts, to be honest. So the Nuremberg's Tiergarten euthanized 12 or killed, 12 guinea baboons who were all deemed very healthy, citing chronic overcrowding. And the troop had grown to 40 individuals, which was far beyond the enclosure's capacity for 25. So the efforts to control the numbers through contraception, I guess, has failed.
Yeah, they
And
did try.
so,
They've tried. They tried. They tried contraception. They have been unable to control the population of this troop of baboons.
right. And so the officials said that killing was the only remaining option. I'm saying killing and not culling. I think that culling is the strangest euphemism for
It
killing.
really is.
It's like saying
It really
sleddering
is.
instead of slaughtering, or like,
I know.
or
It kind of reminds me, though, in a different way, when they use plant for the slaughterhouse.
yeah, totally. I know, that's funny. So, 6 of the baboons were dismembered after being killed. This is very disturbing.
Yeah, no,
Their
it's really
different parts of
disturbing.
their bodies were removed from
Yeah.
them, and then they were fed to the predators, including lions and tigers and wolves and martens.
Oh,
Martens,
they also apparently tried to find other homes, and they weren't able to. So they tried. So
and
go ahead.
yeah, I was gonna say that 4 skeletons are headed to museum collections.
Well, God
Well,
forbid that they should go to waste.
oh, you know what this reminds me of, just real quick? So I participate actively in the Buy Nothing group in my area, and so someone recommended the Buy Nothing book, which was written by the people who founded the Buy Nothing movement. I think the Buy Nothing movement is phenomenal, and it's basically like you're sharing with your community what you need and what you have to offer. And I started listening to the audiobook of it, and they started talking about using every part of the animal that you're like chickens that you have in your backyard, for example. And I like quickly like fast forwarded past it, and then I was like, you know what, fuck, oh, duck this.
The
I
problem
I
is, I think that
I had to
there's no
stop.
problem with our still using those words on the podcast. I don't want to change the way we talk. All right,
No.
go ahead.
No, in
Yeah,
any case, I couldn't listen anymore. I'm just tired of
yeah,
the world.
yeah. No,
But
that is one of the many nonsensical things that people say to excuse themselves for what we do to animals, as long as we don't waste them. Like if you killed me tomorrow and used my body like to fertilize the yard, would that make it okay because you didn't waste my body? It's not your, like, it's my body. Anyway,
yeah.
but I mean they tried, but again, nothing in this article suggests that, well, maybe this means that we shouldn't have zoos if you can't control the population and if you can't find other homes for them. Maybe you shouldn't be keeping them captive then. Isn't that the answer? Isn't that like the only answer? But no, the answer they come up with is, I know, let's have somebody eat them. It's always the answer. Like, if animals are a problem, let's have somebody eat them.
I'm ready for this
Which brings
Alfred
us to our
Hitchcock.
third article.
But I just want to say I'm ready for this Alfred Hitchcock movie that I've been living in for nearly 46 years to end, because I am tired of living in a world where people
Yeah.
behave like this and eat other individuals. What
Well,
a
that
horror
kind of
show.
is The Birds. It really is.
I know. Oh, that's a great movie. We should
Yeah.
rewatch that during our stay
It is a
K.
great movie.
Do you want to rewatch that with me during our
Sure.
staycare?
I've
All
seen it
right.
not too long ago, but I can always
Samesies.
watch it again, even though, I mean, it's not scary in the way that, like, movies about ghosts or something are scary. It's more
Yeah.
scary about, like, well, people are horrible and birds are going to come get them.
Yeah. I friggin' hope so.
I'm all for it.
All right, move on. Move on.
Well, there's a third article in this trio of articles. This is the one that started me on this. This is from the Washington Post. Well, I am able to
Yep.
see it. I have trouble getting past their paywall, but I
The
guess I
case
haven't
for
used
eating
it.
the wild horses out west. That's
In
what
the
it's
this
called.
is by what's her name? Tamar Haspel. In the American West, horses are wreaking havoc. If you're going to eat an animal, an overpopulated wild one is the way to go. And
Hmm.
she styles herself as being in pursuit of a more constructive conversation on divisive food policy issues. She likes to think of herself very well, I think. And so this is her answer. She talks about them being overpopulated, and she does mention that there are people who suggest that it's the cows that are overpopulated. She kind of glides over that, well, there's this controversy and I can't resolve that sort of thing. So which seems to be like a pretty relevant issue. And then she talks about how we could use contraception, which we've tried, but it's really hard to reach some of the horses that are really far out in the wilderness. Well, then couldn't we reach the ones that we can reach? She does talk about how, that it's really it's a terrible situation. Right now there are 60,000 horses in BLM holding facilities. They cost about $100 million per year to maintain. Oh, and then she says, I'm not here to adjudicate these issues, talking about the contraception. You kind of are.
Right.
Like, you're suggesting that people should eat them. That seems like an adjudication. Seems like a death penalty. And she suggests that people should just get over, which of course is completely irrational. The fact that they will eat all these other perfectly lovely animals, cows and
Yeah.
pigs and whatever, and won't eat horses. But she suggests that they should go in the direction of eating all of them instead
Is
of
it
like the direction that we usually think, well, if you don't eat horses, why would you eat a cow?
is it truly more ecological or just a reframing of justifying animal deaths for human consumption? I mean, it is weird because it seems like it is kind of what we always say. Like, why would you eat one and not the other? And she's like, why would you eat one and
Yeah.
not the other?
Yeah, eat them all. Eat them all.
Here's my husband. I'm going to eat him for lunch. Like, what? It's weird. I'm ready for
She
the
blames
I'm
Black Beauty and John Wayne movies. Blames? The interesting
What is happening? I don't even understand
there's an
how this
at the end is interesting. Let me I'm not sure exactly what she meant by this, but I'm just going to read the last paragraph here. So I'm not expecting instant consensus here. But if you're
Oh,
thinking
well,
about
that's good.
ways to reduce the impact of your diet and your only objection here is visceral, maybe it's time to reconsider. If that seems like a big ask, I got some vegans who would like a word.
You know what this reminds me of? It reminds me of Molly
Yeah, totally. No, that I
Elwood
was
from
having the same
Elwood
thought. I
Meats.
was having the same
Yeah,
thought. Except
dog meats.
I don't think she's faking it the way Molly
She's
is.
not being ironic and like it's not performance art. Like it's
Yeah.
real. Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. hmm
All right.
that feels like a terrible note to end on. So
Oh,
sure, let's end
sorry.
on that note. No, actually, real quick before we end, we're going to be on a truncated schedule next week as we are going to be busy watching the birds. Uh,
Over and over and over.
we're going on a staycay or staying home on a staycay. I am so excited about like just sitting on my couch and
Well, don't just
potentially
sit on your
crafting.
couch. I
No, no,
mean,
no. I have lots of day trips
yeah.
planned that I'm
The other
excited
thing,
about.
I mean, staycays, which I've tried to do, and occasionally I've done successfully, I think they require a lot of planning and a lot of
Yeah.
discipline to get yourself out of the house and actually do things. Because otherwise, you just end up, doing the bullshit chores around the house.
I know. I am a little bit nervous about that, but that's one of the reasons I like
Oh, you get a
vacays,
lot of
but
chores done, but
I don't want
don't
to
do
do a
that. Don't
chore.
do
No,
that.
I honestly don't want to do a chore. I just want to like unplug. And I'm
Well,
not
even
great
that, you
at
don't
that.
want to just unplug for 2 weeks. You
No,
want to
I know.
stuff that you'll have memories and that you'll
Well,
enjoy.
I have things in the calendar. I invited
I
you to
know.
all of them.
You have a
So
million things in the
hopefully
calendar.
the
Like we are talking
hopefully
about you
the
here, so I don't know why I'm worried.
hopefully the air quality cooperates because
Oh,
that
it's
would
fine.
be
It's nice out. All right, so,
yeah.
a few years from now we'll be dead. A few years from now we'll
Okay,
be dead
but
anyway.
More has asthma, and so she wears the mask outside.
Oh, yeah, no, she is
Yeah.
vulnerable. I forgot that.
Yeah.
I've
All
been
right, but
insensitive as always.
we will figure it out. We will figure it out.
But I have something else I just want to add. I don't want
Sure.
people to forget that this is not the last episode this week, and we have like an unbelievably amazing interview on Friday coming out with Sherry Franklin, the founder and CEO of Muttsville,
Really
San
good.
Francisco, that you are going to love this interview. And
It's
talk about
so
good
good.
news. It's a good news interview.
It's a good news interview, and it was one of those things where I was like, "Oh right, we're recording. Like this is for a podcast." Like I just felt like we were
Yeah,
friends, and
yeah,
she's just doing the coolest
delightful.
work. It's about senior animal rescue, but it's like she's vegan. There's a vegan ethos. That those are things that you don't hear in the same sentence nearly enough. So maybe it'll make you feel a little bit better about like some of the dodo heads that we were talking about today. Make sure you tune in. Thank you so much for watching, for listening, and we'll talk to you next time.